Students, again we are going to start with lecture number 17. Our chapter number 3 is not yet completed. So again we are continuing with the same chapter. In today's lecture we are going to learn some topics like abstract class methods, interface, namespaces, access specifier available in C# and enum concept. So first we are going to see the abstract class. I think you have already learned this topic in Java. In Java also we were having abstract class. Again the same thing we are having in C# also. Basically abstract class and interface, these two concepts are used to achieve abstraction in C#. What do you mean by abstraction? Abstraction means whatever is necessary, that only we will show to the user, and the actual logical part we will simply hide from the user. For this you can take example of ATM machine. As a user, what is important for user, that is when user swipe the card, after that, after swiping of a card, he or she should get money. Okay, but this when this process take place in background, there are so many processes. That is, first we swipe a card, so our detail is sent. After that the system asks us for the password, so we enter the pin code or password, and then it is verified. If we enter wrong password, then we will get the error message. After that, if we enter the money, then the system will check whether that particular amount is available in your account or not. So many logical things take place, right? But as a user, what is necessary for him or her, that once I swipe the card, once I enter the pin code, I just want the amount, the machine should dispense the amount whatever I have entered. That is important thing for user, right? So abstract class is like that only. Whatever is necessary for the user, that is shown to the user, and other internal logical things are hidden from the user. So this is abstract class. As we are having abstract class, we are having abstract method also. We should see some important point. First point about abstract method is that abstract method are by default, we can say that virtual in nature. Means, as we have seen base keyword concept, in that we have used virtual keyword. Always we make base class method as a virtual, and if the derived class wants to inherit that particular method, then the method is declared with the override keyword, right? So in case of abstract, if we declare any abstract method in a class, then it is by default virtual. So whoever class is there who is inheriting abstract class which contains abstract method, that class will make use of override keyword to access the abstract method. So this is very important point about abstract method, that is abstract method are virtual in nature. So the derived class should override that particular method. Again, if you want to declare the abstract method, then we make use of abstract keyword. Abstract method is not having body, means it is not having any definition. In abstract class we just declare the abstract method, and the definition will be written or defined in the derived class. Then if we consider the abstract class, then we cannot use static and virtual modifiers along with the abstract. This is important. Last lecture we have seen the sealed concept. With sealed we were use override keyword, right? So like that, with the abstract keyword we cannot make use of static keyword or virtual keyword. After that, about some points about abstract class. Basically abstract class is declared with the abstract keyword. Abstract class can contain abstract method as well as non-abstract, that is non-static method. We cannot create object of abstract class, which is common in all the languages. That is, instantiation means object creation. So we cannot create object of abstract class, and definitely the class who inherits particular abstract class must define the abstract method in its scope. So these are the important point about abstract class and methods. Now we are going to see its example. So this is the example of abstract class and method. So first we have created abstract class, that is abstract class shape. After that within that abstract class we are having abstract method. So to declare abstract method, we have written public abstract void row. After that, public class rectangle means we have created, first we have created abstract class, then we are creating a rectangle class who inherits shape, that is who inherits abstract class. So in abstract class we are having void draw method. So now we will define that particular method within rectangle. So for the purpose, public override void draw. Just now I said if you want to inherit the abstract method of abstract class, then we have to make use of override keyword for the same. So with the help of override keyword we have inherit the void draw method and then define the method in class rectangle. After that there is one more class, that is circle, who is again inheriting the abstract class shape. So in that also we will write down public override void draw, and there is a definition, that is console.writeLine drawing circle. This statement we have printed. So this much is there about the classes. So first we have created abstract class, then we have created two classes, rectangle and circle, who inherit abstract class shape. After that we will be having one more class which contains public static void main, and in that particular class we will create object. So as we have discussed that we cannot create object of abstract class. This is the reason why they have written, just see the public static void main part, we are having shape S. Okay, now you will say that this is object creation shape S. When the object is created, when we make use of new keyword. If you see the second sentence, that is we are using S as an object of shape, but we have not created it. So now we are passing the address of rectangle class to the S object by writing S equal to new rectangle, means in reality whose object is created, rectangle class. And now with the help of this object we can call draw method. So definitely now we pass the value or address of rectangle class. So which draw method is going to get called, which is present in the rectangle. So the first line of your output is drawing rectangle. After that we are having next class, that is circle. So again to the same object we pass the value of circle by writing S equal to new circle, and then with the help of the same object S we have called draw. But now as we pass the address instance of circle class, this is the reason why the second line of your output is drawing circle. That is, it is a part of draw method of circle. So this is abstract class. I hope this is clear to you all. This concept is very easy and it is very important. That is, you will be having write a note on abstract class and abstract method. So in that you have to explain some points, and after that give example. Then next we are having C# interface. Interface topic we have already learned in multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance is actually implemented with the help of interface only, but still we will again revise the same topic. To create interface we make use of interface keyword, and basically interface is like abstract class only. It is a blueprint of a class, but it is a blueprint of, we can say that, abstract class. Means like in case of abstract class, in abstract class we just declare the method. Similarly in case of interface we just declare the methods. The class who will inherit that particular interface will define the method, which is compulsory. And one more important thing, the methods which we declare inside interface are by default public in nature. So for writing everything, that is now in this example, just see, we declare or we created the interface drawable, but in front of that we have used public keyword. But inside of the interface we have declared one method, that is void draw, but before void draw we have not written public. Otherwise in all the examples, all the programs till now, whatever we have seen, we make use of public keyword, right? But in case of interface we have not written, because there is interface, the methods which we declare inside the interface are by default public in nature. and they are abstract methods. So we can call it in any class who inherit that particular interface. So just see the program. We have created one interface drawable which contains one method draw. Again here one important point. Now last program, as we have seen, if we want to access abstract method, then we have to make use of override keyword. Okay, so now when any class inherit interface, so it is compulsory to define the interface method inside the child class, right? But while defining, it is very important to write public keyword. Without public, we cannot access the interface method. This is the reason why, just see the program. We have created one class rectangle who inherits drawable interface, and as the rectangle class is inheriting drawable interface, we have to define its method. So while defining, we have written public void draw. This is very important point. Public keyword is compulsory, otherwise you will get error message. So again we are having one more class, that is circle, who again inherits drawable interface. So we have to declare, or we have to define the method of drawable interface inside the circle. And after that, like in case of abstract class, as we have not create object of abstract class, similarly we cannot create object of interface also. So here we have just declared the name with object, that is drawable D, and then we pass the object or address of rectangle and circle class, and then we call the draw method of respective classes. And this is the reason why we got the output as drawing rectangle, drawing circle. So this is interface. So abstract and interface, even I have taken the same example only, so that there will not be confusion. The points which you should remember in case of abstract class, that is, we write abstract keyword with the method, and if you want to inherit the abstract method, then we make use of override keyword. And in case of interface, when we declare a method inside the interface, we never use public access specifier, or we, because they are by default public in nature, so we don't need to write public keyword. And when we are inheriting that particular method in a class and defining that method, in that situation we make use of public keyword, that is compulsory, otherwise we will get error message. The next topic, in C#, we are having next topic, that is namespaces. As we have seen so many program, and it is, I am regularly telling you that write down using system. So system is nothing but the namespace which contains so many methods like console.writeLine, console.readLine. So system is a namespace which contains console, right? And that console is nothing but a class, or it can be interface, it can be structure, it can be delegate. Okay, and after console dot, we write the name of the method, that is writeLine. So writeLine is nothing but the method which is declared inside that control class or interface. Are you getting my point? That is, we have seen the example of system. Why we have to write that using system namespace? Because we are making use of console.writeLine method, console.readLine method. So all these methods are part of system namespace, and this is the reason why we have to write it. So it means what? We are having system as a namespace which contains console as a class, and that particular console class contains console writeLine, readLine as methods which we are using. So similarly, this is inbuilt namespaces, right? These namespaces are not designed or created by us, but if you want to create namespace, that is again possible. So basically, what is namespace? Namespace, basically it is a container which contains the other namespaces, delegates, methods, structure, interfaces. Just to conveniently write the programs or organize the different members, we are making use of namespace. And because of namespace, one problem is also solved. If you want same class, then in a same program we cannot write class A, class A. So we are having one solution for the same, that is, create one class in one namespace, have the A class in namespace A1 and again have the same class A in namespace 2 or A2, like that. So we can create two namespaces which can have the same class with the same name. Okay, so now I have given how we can create the namespace. Basically, to create the namespace we have to make use of namespace keyword. After that, write down the name of namespace. After that, just open the curly brackets and write down the definitions you want. So body of namespace can contain other namespace, classes, interface, structure, delegates. So just see the example. Now I have created my namespace. This is name of my namespace. Namespace my namespace. In that namespace I have created one class, that is class my class, which contains one method, that is my method. And in my method I have defined system.console.writeLine, creating my namespace. Now you have noticed one thing, that is in previous program we always write console.writeLine. We never use system.console.writeLine. The reason is that now in this program we have not written using system before the creation of namespace. So if you are not writing using system as a first line of your program, then you are having one more option, that is whenever you will make use of console.writeLine, just write down system before that. That is system.console.writeLine. If you don't want to write using system, that is if you don't want to inherit or import the namespace, then you can make use of this sentence. Every time you have to write them. And this is the reason why what is better one, only once declare using system. So n number of time you can make use of the console.writeLine readline method, which will be easy for you, right? So this is the example of namespace. This is how we have created the namespace. Now accessing members of namespace. Now we have created the namespace. Now how we will access that particular namespace in other classes? So again, the same program which was present in previous slide, I have copied the same program on this slide also, but now we will practically make use of the namespace which is created by us, that is my namespace. Okay, so again we are having namespace my program, that is in general namespace, which is by default present in your .cs file. After that we have created one class which contains public static void. And now I want to make use of the method which is present inside namespace. So for the same I have written, first write down the name of namespace. So what is name of my namespace? My namespace. Then write down the name of the class which is present inside the namespace, that is .sample class. And then write down the method which is present inside that class, that is my method. So like I said, system.console.writeLine. So system is a namespace which contains console as a class, which contains writeLine readline methods. So similarly in our case, my namespace is our class, namespace, which contains sample class as a class, and sample class contains my method as a method. So to access the same, we have written the statement as my namespace dot sample class dot my method. So when you run this program, you will get output as creating my namespace, which is the statement we have written in my method of sample class, which is a part of my namespace. So with the help of this dot operator, we can access the namespaces. Now in this example, in namespace, my namespace, we have created only single class. But there are chances that single namespace can contain more than one class, can contain interface, can contain delegate, can contain enums. Okay, but I have taken just simple example. Now the previous program which we have seen, in that we have not make use of using my namespace. So using keyword we have not written, and this is the reason why we have to write down the name of namespace, right, and then the class and method. So similarly, if you want to make use of using, that is again possible. Now in this program, I have created two namespaces. First namespace is first, namespace second, and first namespace contain hello class, which contains say hello method. Second namespace contain welcome class, which contains say welcome method. So here, as we have created the namespace, and along with that, if you see the second and third statement, we have used them also by writing using first, using second. So now we have already declared the sentence using first, using second. So this is the reason why when we will make use of the class and methods of namespace first and second, we will write the statement as, just see the next class, public class test namespace. In that we are having public static void main. Now I want to make use of hello class say hello method. So I will write hello h1 equal to new hello, and then h1 dot say hello. And similarly the second namespace, that is welcome. So we have created object of welcome. So welcome equal to new welcome, and then w1 dot say welcome. So like this we have called, that is first we have created object and then we call the method. And if you are not written like this, why we have created object? Because if you notice the program, um, that is again separate, we can say that the cs file which is present in the same folder. And before public class test namespace we have to write down using first, using second. If we are writing using first, using second in this above the test namespace class, then we can write the statement as first, sorry, now we have used using first, so we can directly make use of hello dot say hello. Okay, and then the statement will be printed. So there are two ways to call the method of namespace. Previously we have seen that with the help of directly name of the class and method name we have called the namespace method, and in this example we have created the object of the namespace class and then call the respective class method. So this is again a way to call, or way to call the method of namespace only. After that, the next topic is C# access modifier. This topic we are learning from C++. See, that is, we know there is a public access specifier, private is there, protected is there. So three we all know. Public means whatever variable we declare in a class with public access specifier, that can be accessible inside of the class as well as outside of the class, that is in main method also we can call them. Then we are having protected. Protected means if we declare the variables with the protected access specifier, then if the particular class which contains protected variable is inherited by some other class, then that particular class can access the methods which are protected by nature. So basically protected access specifier is totally related to the inheritance only. That is, whatever variable we have declared with the protected access specifier in a base class, all those variables can be accessible inside the subclass, not the other one, only subclass. And then we have private. Private means the variables or methods which are declared with the private scope, so we cannot call them outside of the class because they are private. Other than that, we are having two new access specifier in C#, that is, first one is internal and the second one is protected internal. So now we are going to see them, the examples. Internal access specifier. So internal access specifier means internal is a keyword like public, protected and private. So now just see the example. We have created one class internal test. In that we have declared one variable and one method with the internal specifier, like internal string name equal to Santosh Kumar, and second is internal void message into round bracket string msg, and then console.writeline hello and the message, that is name we have passed. So in this case, what is use of internal? So basically, when we declare any variable or any method with the internal keyword, then that particular variable and method is accessible only within the file in the same assembly. Same assembly means we can say that within a same namespace we can make use of these variables. Means if we are having namespace A, then we have this class. Then again we can have one more class, and in that class we can make use of string and void message method. So only the files which are present in the same assembly can access the variables and methods which are declared with the internal access specifier. And similarly we are a protected internal access specifier. So again the working is simple, same only, but uh, we can say that the particular variables and methods which are declared with the protected internal access specifier that can be accessible in the derived class which is present in the another assembly. Here we want the classes should be part of same assembly, and when we come to the topic that is protected internal access specifier, so in that situation the variables with the protected internal access specifier can be accessible by the derived class as there is a protected keyword. So definitely inheritance concept is there. So in derived class we can access the method even though that particular device derived class is a part of another assembly, another namespace. So these are the 5 access specifiers or modifiers we can say that available in C#, that is public, private, protected, internal and protected internal. If you want to give example of protected internal, just write down the same example which we have used for internal access specifier, but before the internal just write down one more keyword, protected. And now you can say that how we can call this particular message. So you are having internal test class. After the class is completed, after that create one more class with a public static void method, and in that particular method just create the object of internal test class. Then within console.writeLine display the name and call the method with the help of object.message msg into round bracket pass some value. So the hello with the past value will be displayed. So it is not difficult to give example on the basis of internal access specifier. Okay, just create normal one more class with public static void main and create object of internal test class, and then call the name, that is object. Suppose I have created internal test t1 equal to new internal test, then t1 dot name, just display this in console.writeLine, and t1 dot msg into round bracket, suppose I have written within double quotes Archana, so you will get output as hello Archana, like that. So it is very easy. After that the next topic is C# enum. Enum actually in data types this topic is there, that is we are having reference type, value type, right? So in that we have seen all these things. That is basically it is a part of, we can say that value type, that is string and enum, and other things that is interfaces, abstract classes, they will be a part of reference type. Okay, so enum basically is a term which is derived from the enumeration, and enum is nothing but a set of constants like seasons. We can, if you want to take input from the user, that is enter your birth date. Day means whether you have born on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the days are fixed. We have only 7 days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Other than that we don't have any other day, right? So you can give this list of day with the help of enum, so that if user will try to enter some other day like dry day, then the user will not be able to enter that, because in enum we have declared the list of days. So the input should be part of those elements only. If you enter some other input other than this enumeration constant, you will get error message. So for basically that concept, that is we are having fixed seasons, after that we have fixed days, we have fixed months, sizes also fixed. So for such entities we can make use of enumeration. So just given in the example, we have created one class enum example. In that class we have declared the enumeration by writing public enum season. Season is nothing but the name of enumerator, so you can make use of it. And within curly brackets just give the list like winter, comma spring, comma summer, comma fall. Okay, after that we are having one more class, just complete that curly bracket after season, and that is there actually. In same class, that is enum example, we are having main method. In main method now we want to display The numberings means as we have passed the variables values winter spring, so the values will start from 0 numbering. So winter's index number is 0, after that spring index number is 0, after that summer index number is 0, right? Sorry, 1, sorry, it is 2, and after that fall index number is 3. So 0 1 2 3, like that we are having numberings. So the statement which we have written inside public static void main is int x equal to, now we have used type conversion, int method we have used, and season dot winter means it will return the value season dot winter and convert it into integer. Integer means it will return its index number. So winter is at the position 0 in enum, right? So the value of x will be 0. After that we have written season dot summer. So summer is at the position 0 1 2 2. So y will contain 2. So like that we can make use of enumeration. It's not like normal variables, normal values. When you want the user to enter specific values you only, then you can make use of enum operation, enum data type. So this much is there in today's lecture. I hope everything is clear to all. In today's lecture we learned abstract classes, which is again very important topic. Then we have seen the interface, then we have learned the concept of namespace, and all these questions are important, no? It is already asked in the exam. Just see the previous year papers, you will come to know. So and then now we have seen the topic of enum. So this much is there in today's lecture. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay